Defeating God is always the coolest thing ever in video games. Another game does it as well as Persona 5 Royal. Hello guys, today I want to share my experience with the 8th Paras of Persona 5, and it was a really good experience. I defeated him just a few days ago before recording this video, and I really loved it. It's probably one of my favorite arcs of our time now, and it's filled with big moments, and all of it is a constant ride from start to finish. It just took me like 6 hours, but I really enjoyed the 6 hours I spent in this arc. And this arc is so amazing, which I have already said multiple times, but yeah, it is amazing. Also, literally Kira God, and what can be better than that?
I am the administrator, born of the collective human unconscious. The god of control, Yaldabaoth.
I really loved the boss fight. It felt truly climatic, and it was a fitting end for the game, even if it isn't the actual end, since Roya rather than another arc. I was expecting him to summon the previous bosses when he started talking about the 7 deadly sins, but he just brought out the 7 weapons. No, they were still cool and all, and they brought new status elements to the fight, but it would have been even better if all the 7 bosses came back and we just destroyed them, since we are much stronger now than we were in those arcs. But him using R7 since also shows that he's on another level from the previous enemies. He is the greatest raid humanity has. I think that a great final boss in video games should be someone who we can clearly tell is way above the previous enemies we have faced, and this game does it perfectly thanks to the inclusion of 7 deadly sins in his boss fight. I also didn't expect the Igor twist. I haven't played the previous game, so this probably would have hit even more if I had, but I was still completely shocked by what happened. Like, I didn't trust him, his design was just way too sketchy, but from what I know, he was a good guy in the previous games, so I guess it was just unfounded. But yeah, he was a villain, and that was completely surprising.
Not even one sliver of unpredictability can be permitted under my control.
I guess it was impossible in the end. It was fun while it lasted, though. It's humans against a god, after all.
Do you hear the voices of the masses?
I don't think that he was the hardest boss in the game. The title definitely goes to Haru's dad, but I think that he was one of the most interesting bosses in the game. And I think he was my favorite boss as well, if we count everything that happened in the boss fight instead of just the fight itself, because that conclusion was just... I can't stop thinking about it. The Phantom Thieves finally reaching 100% of society's support, and then just using it to summon some fucking demon. That was so cool. Like, how can you not throw that? That was definitely the hypest and most emotional moment in the game for me, and I think it was like that for most people. I think at least. I don't know how the community views all this stuff yet. I haven't looked it up, but yeah, the thieves proved God wrong. Humanity doesn't want to be just sheep that follow the orders of some minders being in the sky. We want to be free, we want to change ourselves and improve ourselves in every possible way. The only reason people go down the easier path and why they just follow the orders of some big shot politician is because it is a way easier path of life. You don't have to think about yourself, you don't have to think about how to change the world, you don't have to think about the future of the society, because you leave it in the hands of someone you think is better than you, but there is nobody better than you. You have to be confident in yourself, and you have to do what you want. You have to, if you see some injustice, you have to try to change the world, and we see that very well in the game. Most of the characters are just society outcasts, but they still had what it takes to change the world. They took their own path and they risked everything, and they succeeded. Society completely believed them, and they trusted in them to save them from this god. And I find that very powerful. It shows that all of us can change the world, all of us can take the world.
Take it down, Phantom Thieves! Come on! Why do you think they risked their lives all this time?
I really love how the Confidants express their support in us in the final fight. We have spent the entire game bonding with them, and this last arc shows that it wasn't just some meaningless times we spent here, even if it was 100 hours, but it mattered. We built real bonds with these fictional characters, and we saw how that worked in the final arc. Without them, we wouldn't have succeeded. All their abilities and tricks helped us become superior Phantom Thieves, and we changed the world thanks to their support. This game shows that you have to care about your friends. Money becoming the strongest, or that it is meaningless if you don't have people to spend that success with.
I've made up my mind. I will see my justice through for the sake of protecting what I care about. Morgana. The same goes for you guys, too. If you've decided to take the world from him, don't compromise your ideals to the very end.
I love how much gods and the Phantom Thief ideologies opposed each other. The Holy Grail showcased everything that is wrong with humanity, or greed, or sloth, or envy, or lust. All these bad things were perfectly showcased in this final boss. We have many desires, but most of us are too scared to act on them, and we just sit behind a big politician's protection and just vote for them in election. We don't want to change the world ourselves. We want to leave it to better people, and we are just lazy. That is the biggest sin of humanity's throat. God was as manipulative and arrogant as the other previous antagonist, but he was a way bigger fish, and he used the entire humanity as his slaves, which they didn't even dislike. They liked that they could drive all their worries to some higher being and not think about it themselves. They didn't want to try to change the world themselves. They just allowed some big being to control them, and I think that is awful. Like, you should try to change your life. You shouldn't just wait for some person to appear and save you from all your worries like the people in the game did. You need to fight for your future. And the best part is that Phantom Thieves are like this at the start of the game as well. They did nothing to solve their issues. They just wallowed in their pity and allowed the big bad enemies to do what they wanted. They didn't fight back at the start. It took the game's protagonist for them to realize that you have to fight back. You can't just wallow in your pity and allow the enemy to win. If something bad is happening to you, you need to change yourself. You need to become better. And this is what the characters did. They awakened their personas and became superhumans pretty much. They surpassed their limits and change the entire world. The section where you go around and get your teammates out of the prison is one of my favorites in the entire game. You see what they were before the event, so the game took place, and how they were the same as the rest of the public. They allowed their tormentors to win and just abuse them, but they got the confidence that they needed to fight back. Joker helped them realize that you need to fight back. You can't just allow some adults to torment you and tell you what to do. You need to fight for your future. You need to take the world, like I've said multiple times in the video, but I need to give you the point. You need to fight. Like, that is the point of this game. You can't just allow some tormentors to torment you. You need to fight back. No, I will repeat this many times, but yeah, fight back, fight back. That is the entire point of the game, I think. I really loved how you had to tear the lessons around their confidence stories for them to come back. You told Yusuke that he shouldn't care about that stuff, that he shouldn't care that society doesn't want to be saved, because he was the same. He didn't want to be saved from his tormentor, but he needed saving, so we saved him.
I'm joking. I don't want any more trouble. I finally get to live without having to think for myself now.
The dungeon itself wasn't anything that special. It isn't one of the best in the game, but the walking puzzles were really fun. They weren't anything crazy hard, but it still took a bit of effort to solve them. It was interesting trying to connect all the puzzles on one floor to try to reach the finish line. And actually, the first puzzle where you had to walk in the tower to finish it, that took me a bit of time because I didn't notice that you could walk in there while you were doing the puzzle, but yeah, I felt really stupid after that. But that was a really fun way to try to do it. I really enjoyed it. The design of the palace is very dreadful and sad and boring, but I think that was intentional. This is the collective heart of people who have no ambitions, no desires. They just want to be ruled over to live a peaceful life. And so the palace itself is filled with dread. It isn't anything special because the palace ruler isn't anything special. The palace rulers are just a bunch of sheep. My favorite part of the dungeon itself was when we met the previous four antagonists and saw how road they have fallen. They aren't the men we saw before who control the entire humanity thanks to their ambitions and will. They might have been evil, but at least they weren't sheep. They had the fire in their hearts to try to change the world, even if they didn't want to make the world better. They still weren't just sheep like they were now. And I think that the way the palace is structured, we can see that the sheep are the bigger problem. They want the society to remain like it always is and give power to these alpha men. And this is why all the bad stuff happens. Society needs to try to take charge for itself. If you want to change something, you need to do it yourself. Like, you can't just wait for something to change. And that is a big problem with today's society. We just wait, and wait. We don't do anything ourselves, and that is a gigantic problem. We can't continue doing that. You shouldn't just follow the society's norms and laws. Everyone can change the world if they try hard enough, even you. That is the main theme of this palace, I believe. The world can't evolve if the people living in it just allow evil scumbags to continue doing what they want. We must try to change the world, even if the contribution we make is very small. None of us can be like the Phantom Thieves because they're fictional and have superpowers, but everyone has the power to change at least something about the world, even if that aspect is very small.
Thanks for everything, gang. Mona-chan? Mona? Humans have the power to change the world. They just forgot about that a bit.
Mona's death scene was actually very emotional and meant a lot to me, which completely surprised me. Like, I didn't like him that much before this palace, and I thought that he was one of the weaker Phantom Thieves, but now I really liked him. Like, his arc in this palace and through the entire game was great, excluding the fifth palace, which let's not talk about his arc in that one. But yeah, I think it was really great. I enjoyed how his character evolved in the game. He could have easily been just a mascot character who got no depth, but the writers understood that he couldn't just be that like in some other stories. He needed to be an actual character and have depth. He needed to be a real person even if he was a talking cat. His original purpose was to lead the trickster to the god and how the trickster defeated him, but that wasn't his main purpose anymore. He had made bonds through the entire game with the Phantom Thieves and other of the protagonist Confidants. He understood what friendship is and what it means, and I think that was very well handled. His most important purpose of existence is being a Phantom Thief and protecting the lives of his friends and his brother, the protagonist. Truth be told, I am completely satisfied by the game and I got everything that I desire and more. This was a perfect experience, and I have around 150 hours in the game, and this is amazing. Like, this is probably one of my favorite games already, and could maybe even be a top 10 favorite story of our time. I just need to see how they rank with each other, but yeah. I have no idea how the Royal Arc could be even better. Like, this was perfect, right? But everyone tells me that it is better. I don't know how, and I can't wait to play it. Hopefully, I find the time to finish all of it next week. But let's see, time is a massive issue, like it is in game. Time is very hard to be managed. Yeah, that is actually a very good thing about the game, and the lessons of time are very good. But let's talk about another time. This was about Jake Paris, and yeah, these were my thoughts. I think this is the best arc in the game, hands down, and I loved it, and I can't wait to play the Royal Arc. Hopefully, I can read the Royal Arc video as well soon, but let's see how it goes first and how I survive. Actually, if I even survive the last arc, because if it is a lot better than this arc, then done, yeah, I'm done. I won't survive. It will be just way too good. And yeah, bye.
Be gone.
Preposterous! You dare honor people's wishes?